What's up everybody, today we're taking a look at the updated and slightly reworked Darkflame Cleft on Mythic, going over important trash abilities and boss mechanics, starting off with notable trash before the first boss. Rank Overseer Overpowering Roar deals damage to all players and increases all his allies' damage and haste. Their Wild Wallop deals damage and knocks both players and his allies. Menial Laborers stack a bleed on tank, crude weapons, so tanks beware and kite if needed. Make sure to interrupt Royal Wicklighter's flashpoint, inflicts a dot on a random player that can be dispelled. Pack Mole stack a disease on tanks, Nasty Nibble, 10% damage taken increased and 5% movement speed reduction, cleanse if possible. And you want to make sure to interrupt the Mole Herder's Mole Frenzy, enrages all nearby moles and aggroes nearby moles. They also panic at low health, 50% increased health but 25% damage reduction. You can use the pillars around the area to line of sight mobs here to make grouping easier. So, for the first boss, one set of tracks will light up and shortly after a minecart flies down the track, dealing near lethal damage to both players and adds and also knocks them back. Kobolds will continuously spawn en masse, applying a small stacking bleed when they attack. You can use stuns, roots to keep him in place. Players targeted by Luring Candle will be fixated by all adds, so you can use this to get him back on the track. Every now and then, Ol'waxbeard gets up to some underhanded tactics, spawning a bomb-filled cart. Everyone needs to instantly swap and nuke it down before it blows up, or you die. Boss will also fixate on a random player and shortly after charge towards them. Try to make boss charge into one of the pillars near you to avoid losing too much uptime. Or melee be damned? Notable trash before the second boss. The Wandering Candle Surging Flame, massive area denial, so take care where you position these. Also deals group-wide damage with Quenching Blast. You want to make sure to interrupt the Blazing Fiend's Explosive Flame. It deals group-wide damage, but it increases fire damage taken by 10% in its stacks, and there's a lot of them and a lot of fire-based damage here, so you really don't want high stacks from this on the group. Moving on to the second boss. Tanks, keep in mind that you need to be in melee range at all time except if you get targeted by Wick Light Barrage, and if you're not in melee, boss blasts everyone. Around the room there's unlit candles. When players get targeted by Wick Light Barrage, they drop circles. Hit the candles with these to light them, and you have to light at least one candle or everyone dies, because boss follows this with Enkindling Inferno, filling each unlit candle pie slice with a dark cone. This in turn lights all the candles and is followed by Extinguishing Gust. Several players gets a blue mark above their head, and shortly after, boss sends out a gust of wind towards each marked player, and you need to hit at least one candle with the wind to create a safe zone for incite flames, which sends out fire puddles between all lit candles and the boss. Melee, keep in mind that boss has an absolutely insane hitbox, so you can practically play this fight as range for all mechanics. Notable trash before third boss. Torch Snarl and Soot Snout. Now Soot Snout faces a player's location and channels a frontal cone. Make sure to interrupt their flaming tether roots and deals damage over its channel. And will also spawn candles. You know, touch candle. And Torch Snarl knocks everyone back with massive stomp. Don't get knocked into candles. Also fixates and charges a player, stunning them for 5 seconds, often in Soot Snout's frontal. And the third boss. And for the third boss, we have the Candle King. Boss will continuously cast Paranoid Mind, fearing everyone. Make sure to interrupt it. When he casts Eerie Mold, each player spawns a wax statue near them. Wax statues constantly deals damage to the entire group, so you want to avoid having a lot of these up. Now, if you touch a wax statue, you get stunned for 5 seconds. However, players targeted by Darkflame Pickaxe needs to aim the line so it hits and breaks the statue. If a player gets hit, they take a lot of damage instead and gets knocked away. Emphasis on away. 2 players also gets a circle around them with Throw Dark Flame. If this hits a statue, it melts and you get a nice wax puddle instead. Notable trash before last boss. boss. Starting off with a gauntlet. Name of the game, Escort the Payload. And to keep the payload or cart moving, you need light. If the cart runs out of light, it stops. Enemies that get inside the circle slows the cart down, and some have abilities that drain light. Now along the gauntlet, there's several spots in the darkness with lights players can pick up and bring to the cart to refill it. Skittering horrors have low health and detonate on death. The corridor creepers, however, gains 10% damage per nearby corpse. This buff drops as soon as you pull them away from the corpses. They also stack a nasty dot on tanks, and they can't be crowd controlled, so kiting to drop it is not possible. And you want to make sure to interrupt shuffling horrors drain light. Now you can either do the slow and steady approach, which is simply sticking with the cart and refilling light as needed, or you send most or some players ahead of the cart to pick up a light and kill ads that are in its path to keep it from ever slowing down if you have a need for speed. Once you reach the end, you need to pick up some dynamite and hop into the cart. During this, you need to throw dynamites at the darkness to lower its HP before you actually fight it. Following the cart ride, more of the same trash. Keep kiting the corridor creepers away from corpses, and tanks beware of their stacking dot. And the last boss, the darkness. Just listen to the rhythm of his heart. In front of boss, there's a candle that works like the one on the minecart. This candle will gradually lose its light, and if it's hit by any of the boss's mechanics, its light gets depleted faster. You can pick up, move, and put down the candle using an extraction button. This is mainly used when boss casts Umbral Slash. If it hits the light, it loses a lot of light. Or if you move the boss and you just want the candle with you so you can DPS. Now around the area, wax lumps periodically spawn. Picking one up and bringing it to the candle replenishes the light. If the light ever fully goes out, everyone gets feared, take damage, and take 10% more damage plus 5% less haste for 10 minutes, and it stacks. So you really don't want to let the light go out. Players targeted by Shadow Blast needs to run away with their AoE circle and blow up away from the candle. This is a great time to pick up a wax lump to replenish the candle, but you also need to pick up an additional wax lump right before boss casts Eternal Darkness. Group-wide damage over 4 seconds. Each tick depletes a lot of light, so you want to be able to replenish that before you fully lose it. Lastly, make sure to interrupt Call Dark Spawn fast. As soon as boss casts it, it spawns ads that will try to drain the light. Make sure to stun, interrupt, and nuke them down. And that's pretty much it. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or tips and tricks for the dungeon. You want to help support my channel? Check out my Patreon, Twitch, or YouTube membership. You can gain access to my Discord, shoutouts and videos, virtual high fives. Don't forget the usual stuff, like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, it really helps me out. Thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next dungeon guide.